our lovely from True Blood, Kristin Bauer. So come on in, Kristin.
Hi. Hello again.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Hello, everybody.
Are you enjoying everybody coming to your table so far?
No. I thought I'd just get in Pam mode.
In Pam mode, that's perfect.
No, just kidding.
So since we mentioned Pam, my first question for you is if Pam and Maleficent ever met in a crossover universe, who would win and why?
Oh, well, I don't know who would win. I mean, I think they would definitely, I think they'd just share clothing.
You think they would just become best friends?
Yeah.
I mean, why not? It's kind of a perfect universe at that
I
point.
don't see how they wouldn't.
Your famous red dress, the leather red dress.
Oh, I know.
I love that dress.
The True Blood one?
Yeah, the one that was bought on eBay.
I was going to say that was bought on eBay. There was one of those.
Yeah.
And the costumer was just so fabulous.
And
so she found that. And then everything on Once Upon a Time. Can you all hear me okay? What am I looking at on that back wall? The Grand Poobah or something? That is the
it's from the Masonic Center. It's one of the...
Oh.
So this is a Masonic Center normally, and that's one of their...
Hell, am I awake? I mean, this feels like a weird dream, right?
It's perfect for a creepy con, right?
Yeah, totally. This feels like a strange dream. So, what were you saying?
We were talking about them being able to share clothes and become best, and then the dress from eBay.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. The costumer for Once Upon a Time, he would sketch the costumes and then have them built. Oh. And this is incredibly, incredibly unusual. In fact, I think it's the only time I've ever experienced that in all my very few years because I'm so young. But that was phenomenal to watch. Anything that he drew, they could figure out how to construct. And, you know, Maleficent had those huge collars. That's not easy to construct, you know. So really, and the beading. So, I mean, the True Blood outfits had to be things that Pam could have figured out how to buy living in the South.
Yeah. It's perfect. And she had her own unique style to make her stand out, so it worked out really well.
Yeah, and that was Audrey Fisher. And that was also the fact that on a lot of TV shows, there's an 8-day shoot, and you will be the scripts will come out not long before you go to the set to shoot. But with True Blood, pretty much all the episodes were written before we'd start back at work, and we would get the scripts with some time. And the costumer got time. So, and they had a big budget. So we could do a fitting just for the gloves. And then we could do a fitting just for the shoes. We could do multiple fittings for every costume, just a jewelry fitting. And this is really also a huge luxury of HBO and the way that they did things. So the amount of thought that went into every single thing on the Pam clothing was unheard of.
It was so pieced well together. Like I just remember being so fashionable and just so forward with the style for being in the South. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So Pam became a fan favorite on True Blood. She's sharp, stylish, and delightfully vicious. What was your first impression of Pam when you read the script?
So when I first auditioned, they didn't give me a script. They gave me, and really, you know, Pam had one-liners very often. And so there wasn't really even a scene. So they kind of cut and pasted together a bunch of one-liners to make it into like a few pages. So all that I knew was, you know, that she was very sarcastic. And that she was a very strong character. And throughout my career, you know, there were phases, right? Like I started in sitcoms where I was the dumb blonde character. And then sitcoms went away. They died out. So, and I was the funny girl. So then I had to convince casting directors all over again, like I just got off the bus, that I could do drama. And the only drama they would allow me to do was a victim. So I was always crying on everything. And then that phase kind of petered out. And then I was always the sex worker. If there was any sort of like, she was a hooker, she was in porn movie, whatever. And I think that was because I somehow tapped into the woundedness of that character, not playing the sex part. And so I felt like other actresses, when they'd see me come in the door, were like, oh, we should just go home. Because I always booked those. So then for years, I'm a sex worker. Then I wanted to play tough characters. I wanted to play smart people, right? Not dumb, wounded, sex worker people. That was like my career. Great, it's paying my rent, fabulous. However, I'm seeing people playing lawyers and doctors, and I would go in, and they would be like, yeah, thanks. So there was you'll notice now when you watch TV, there are always darker people that are smart, brunette or black or Asian or something. It's never this. So that's just typecasting from the beginning of time. So I saw this role, and one of the toughest women on television ever at that point.
Yeah.
And I thought, how the hell am I going to convince them that Blondie is tough? So I changed my voice a bit and dropped it down. And then I could also do the Southern accent, which helped. And then I just went in there and was like, I'm going to be as unimpressed as possible. And I think because I had the comedic background, I could see that was the best way to make her funny. And then I ended up booking it. But I realized later that I had help because she's written to look like me in the books. And they were going pretty close to the books. So like Anna Paquin, who's a very pale brunette, they cast her and then made her look, blonde and sprayed her. So they kept us pretty close. They hired Alex Skarsgård, who is a Viking, to play a Viking. So they stayed pretty close to the books. So I got lucky.
Nice. So fans love Pam's one-liners. Did you ever improvise or have a favorite one-liner that just stuck out to you?
No, and my favorite one would be the one that I was doing at the time, because there were so many. So the scripts would come in. No one improvised. I definitely didn't improve on what came in as far as the writing. The writing was just incredible and just golden. I'd be like, oh my God, I get to say that? Please tell me you're not going to cut it after I say it. Because are there any children here? No. There were so many lines where I'm like, gash in a sundress? Like, really, that's going to air? Or are you just fucking with me and I'm going to say this and deliver it and bust my balls all day to deliver it 800 times, because we would shoot scenes for a whole day. And then you're going to cut it? And they didn't. So every line that came across, no matter how outrageous, it aired. And that was HBO.
Did you have a favorite of any of the lines or anyone that stuck out to you?
I like Republicant a lot.
I like that one too.
Yeah, and I got death threats for that one, and some of them were from Sarah Palin, so that was fun.
That's a great Sarah Palin story.
I know, isn't it? She's aware of me. Since I had to be way too aware of her, I felt that was only fair.
So you've been podcasting with Deborah Ann Wall, who played Jessica, and you guys have the Truest Blood podcast. How fun has that been for you guys?
That's incredible. And that was a really lovely thing that happened during the shutdown, during COVID. Yeah. So we were all siloed in our homes on our computers, and we could do it. And that was a remarkable experience.
You guys just looked like you had so much fun.
We did. And, that was Janina Gavankar, who played Luna. That was a funny line, because we're being arrested in some season, and I passed Sam Merlot in the hallway. We're both arrested. I can't remember what was happening, but he goes, "Save Luna." And I go, "Who the fuck is Luna?" That was pretty funny.
I love that.
So we did a convention online, and we were in an online panel, and right before they said, "Okay, thanks, that's it, goodbye," she said, "Kristin, I'm going to call you." And my phone rang, and she goes, "You should do a podcast, and we should sell it to HBO."
Yes.
And I don't think I'd ever listened to a podcast at the time. And I went, yeah. And then we started thinking who could do it with me. And so we called Deb. And she, for like 2 hours, had a lot of really good questions. And she'd ask, and I'd think, ooh, yeah, what is the answer to that? Like, that's a really good question. How would that work? And I realized that that was a perfect combination because she's like Scully and I'm like Mulder. You know, I'm like, I feel that. Yeah. And she's like, and how would we, you know? So she was the intellectual and I was the crier, basically, because we were reuniting with our family.
Right.
So every interview, I was like, this is too much. Like, you know, I just can't even believe I'm talking. I reconnected with my entire family. Every episode, I just cried and cried. And she would try to keep it on the rails, you know.
So when you were filming True Blood and you had done Once Upon a Time, did you film different seasons or did they overlap in any of your filming?
The first episode of Once overlapped with True Blood, and it was their first season. And I can't remember what season we were on with True Blood, but, well, season 4, when I went back, would have been True Blood season 8. So I guess we were around season 3, and it hadn't aired, so we didn't know what it was. And my manager and agent were on the phone conference calling with me, and I was taking my mom to the hairdresser, and they were yelling at each other. She should do this. This is Adam and Eddie, and they did Lost, and they're amazing. And then my agent would say, "It's an unproven show. She's on a show. Why would she do an unproven show?" And then my manager would say, "Because it's Adam and Eddie." And so they are yelling. And I'm just waiting. And then my mom was like, "We gotta go, honey." She hates being late. So I took a quarter out of my pocket and was like, "Heads, I'm doing it. Tails, I'm not doing it." It was heads. So I said, "I'm doing it. I gotta go." And that was, I shot it on like a Saturday. So I flew up, shot it, went back. And it was the polar opposite of True Blood, because on True Blood, we did everything, they call it practical. So if we shot in a castle, they either built it or they found a castle.
Right.
So Once Upon a Time, it was all green screen, which is so different. So when I showed up to film with Lana, she was super helpful and generous because there was just a green everything, ceiling, floor, everything, and a chair. And that's weird. So she helped me with that because normally you would have more time. They did an 8-day shoot and we did like a 20-day shoot. So True Blood was like filming a movie every episode. So with True Blood, it's like you go in and you're like looking at the set and it's like, wow, you really believe that I am in the South, you know?
Right.
If I'm outside, I'm looking at trees that now have moss hanging because we shot in LA. Wherever you were, just getting dressed and walking into the set, you're already, half of your work is done for you because you're just feeling it. So this was like, I'm feeling nauseous. This room is so green, you know? And then on True Blood, you would walk around and figure out, well, maybe I'll walk over here and maybe I'll lean on the bar and maybe I'll, sit in that chair. But on once, I was like wearing this fabulous outfit. So I'm like, maybe I'll walk over here. And they go, you're in the wall. Oh. And they go, they're tape on the floor. Oh. I don't know what, there's just tape everywhere. Okay, well, how about I go over here? Now you're in the fireplace. Oh, so I just sat. I'm just going to sit in the one prop that I have here. So that was very different. Then season 4 happened partly, I think, because I finished True Blood, and it was kind of like, I don't really know if I want to act anymore. Like, I'm kind of done. I'm tired. Like, I just lost my whole family, Mm. And then I thought, well, I could do Once Upon a Time because I know them. And I know the set, and I know the hotel they're going to put me in. It's so much fun watching, like, Freddy Krueger, Scream, Jason, all stream past the Masonic guy back there in fluorescent lighting. It's all fascinating. So I had told my manager, could you call Once Upon a Time and just ask them if, they might want to have Maleficent back? And then that was the Queens of Darkness.
Yeah.
So they might have been thinking that anyway, but I don't know. So that's how that happened.
So besides being stuck in a green room playing Maleficent, how do you think the script played out for you and the differences from being from True Blood and going kind of more Disney-esque in a sense with Maleficent?
I mean, just similar but less swearing. But I really enjoyed the people I was working with, which is what makes me enjoy things or not. And I liked being in Vancouver. I love it up there. And they put us in these apartment hotel things, and that was neat. And then I love Lana. And they were like, they were tired, and they were like, oh, God, we've got to, they're having us in on Saturday to do B camera. And because True Blood just ended, I was like, cherish each other. Love it. Love every minute. They're like, okay, calm down, But so I was really enjoying it and loving being there, and also kind of felt like a fly on the wall because it wasn't my show.
Right.
So I was like, what an interesting thing we all do for a living. I was just feeling really introspective. But we had fun. We laughed a lot on that show, too.
That's awesome. So I know that you are obviously an accomplished actress. We all know that. But I'm aware that you are a painter, and you have some beautiful stuff, especially in your illustrations. How does your visual art influence your acting or vice versa? Does it help at all, correlate?
It would be, how it feels is because I went to college, that was my training, was in fine art, and then because I would get so busy, I wouldn't do it. And then when there would be a little lull, I could get back in class and get back in the studio. And then, so I've been doing this for a long time. And there isn't really what it is sort of a balance, because it's the opposite. It's like, when you're doing a TV show, you're making stuff with a group. And you all see the actors, but you can't believe the network of people that make these things happen. I mean, you can't believe the prop dudes. And it's in the scene, that I hand Suki a check from Eric. So I walk into the rehearsal, and I'm going to mime that. And I go like this, and there's a check that's just put in my hand. Oh, thanks. And I look at it, and it's printed, Fantasia, Eric Northman, the address. I'm like, this is unbelievable. So the network of people and the camera people, you just can't even believe it. It takes like 300 people to do, a show like True Blood. So then I go to paint, and it's me. That's it. You know, it's just every single decision that is made, every single brushstroke, it's just me.
Well, your work's phenomenal.
And it's just, you know, it's just a quiet room by myself. What kind of music do I want to put on? I don't know, Chris. What would you like to put on? You know, you go into the hair and makeup trailer, and there's all these opinions on what kind of music we'll be playing. And I'm like, oh, God, that's awful. Can you turn it down? No. When I'm painting, it's just every decision is 100% mine, and that creation is 100% mine. So that is a nice balance.
Yeah, you have a really beautiful painting of a Muslim woman holding a child.
Oh, yeah.
And as I was looking at your artwork, that picture captivated me. Had me
Oh,
locked in
thank
for 20
you.
minutes, and I just had all this emotion that I could just
know.
feel in that picture
Good.
with each stroke. And I mean, it just, I'm not really big into art, but there are pieces that speak to me, and that piece just had me locked in.
Nice.
And, you know, the flowers are beautiful, the strokes, the coloration, all of that. But that woman holding that child just conveyed such a message of like heartache and pain and just wanting to be a
Right.
protector. And as a mom myself, I felt that. So
yeah.
that picture was just gorgeous. I have to give you your credit
Thank
for that.
you. It's at kristinbauer.com if you're curious.
Do you have any projects that you're working on that you'd like to share with us?
Nothing that I can share, but I'm working to produce. I mean, it is neat, too. There was something I auditioned for lately that apparently they don't want me for, but that would have been nice as far as schedule, location, the people. I knew one of the actors I'd be playing ex-husband to, ex-wife to, and so that would be neat. But I'm working with some people to create something that would be closer to all of our hearts. So it's sort of in between painting and what I've done in the past, where other people create it and I come in late and leave early, and then it goes to editors. This would be more my decisions, my creation with particularly one other person. And that would be fun. So we'll see if it happens. That's a lot of, I've been working on it for almost a year, and we're almost to the point where we could sell it.
That's awesome.
It takes a long time, and we're going to have to get people to want to give us, you know, an enormous amount of money to do it.
It's always the hardest part.
Yeah, someone has to pay those 300 people to show up every week and do their thing.
Right. So I want to open it up to a couple of fan questions. Do we have any fan questions for Kristin? Anyone? Right up here in the...
When you did Lost, was that part written specifically for you, or when you went to do Lost, was that part written specifically for you, or were they like approaching you to come on the show directly?
Was that for Once Upon a Time?
For
Yes,
Lost.
I'm sorry. Once
Yeah.
Once Upon a
I
Time.
figured that's what you meant. So that was not, here's how we know it was not written for me. So when I went up there and Lana was helping me with not walking into walls and things that weren't there yet in the green screen, she said, has anyone showed her where she is? And they hadn't. So they brought over an iPad where they called them like the Zeus brothers or something, where they were putting in like a temporary set so the director could know on the monitors, you know, could kind of see where we were. And I looked at it and I realized there's another actress wearing my costume. So I replaced somebody.
Oh.
And that's why it was, and it's happened. I've been fired. I've replaced people. It's just a thing that happens. And I actually know her. So I was like, why is blah, blah, blah wearing my dress? And then Lana went, oh my God, don't show her that. That's another actress in the role. Like, she shouldn't even know that. So yeah, somebody, and then I think that's also why we had to quickly film it on the weekend, because they were now behind the 8 ball, because they decided she's not right in it. We got to get someone else in this role. And they had to quickly get me up there, hope that I was her size, and film it.
All right. We got one more question, and then we'll wrap it up.
really loved hearing how much you bonded with the cast and formed family. That was really touching. I'd love to hear like a story of, it doesn't matter what actor, just like some story where you two connected when that love formed between you.
Yeah, so in hindsight, and I tell this story in the podcast, if anyone's heard it, forgive me, but I, after I auditioned for True Blood, this was during a writer's strike. So there wasn't work in the United States that you could do. So I went over to the Philippines and was having a ball shooting probably not a very good movie. And I got the producer, oh my God, that was such a strange experience. But the producer, who's so lovely, Barkley, she said to me, oh, we have to get you back like the day after you finish here because you start on something else. I said, what? What did I get? What's happening? And she said, let me see. And she was scrolling through her BlackBerry, 2009. And she's like, True Blood. And I was like, what is that? And she's scrolling and she goes, oh, HBO. And I was like, oh, yeah, I remember that. Oh, okay, yeah, cool. I wanted that one. So then I fly back like 17 hours. I've been there long enough to be on that time zone. I had to go straight to my wardrobe fitting, then to my fang fitting, and then to the set. So I've been awake 27 hours when I start filming, basically. And so there's Alex. I'm like, hi, who do you play? And he's like, your maker. I'm like, okay. And then I meet Steven and Anna. I'm like, oh, hi. So then we start filming. And I was so out of it. Alex had to speak Swedish. And I don't know why I asked him, are you speaking Cambodian? And he was like, no. But he didn't say anything else, and I thought, oh, God, he's one of those, like, serious actors. This is going to be a nightmare. And then Anna they were nice, but they were kind of busy, you know. So Anna, I was in this corset, and she goes, nice corset, don't eat. And walked away, and I had never worn a corset before, but she had done a ton of period pieces. So we went to dinner because it was a night shoot. So we're going to dinner, late. And I was so hungry and I was so tired. So they unlaced me. I ate a lot of food and I fell asleep. And then there's a knock on the door. And I can see more panel people. I have to speed it up. But I sat up and was like, where am I? This isn't my trailer, because it was different than the one in the Philippines. There was no crucifix, right? Like, very religious in the Philippines. So I'm like, I don't know what's happening. So they go, we got to lace you up and get you back into the outside. And we were shooting this scene where we fly for the first time. But they didn't know how to do that yet. So they had a piece of wood with wheels they'd put on the corners, and a piece of rope to pull it and a piece of rope to stop it. And they told Alex and I to get on it, and they were going to pull us down the alley. And I'm thinking, how is that going to look like we're flying? And I'm thinking, isn't this a big butt? Isn't this HBO? Why are you doing this? Like, is this a college movie? And I hear this laughing. And I look over, and it's Anna. And she goes, you should see your face. And we started laughing because it didn't work. It was ridiculous. Alex and I were like this, whoa, the whole time. The director's, he comes out, he goes, cut. And we go, does this look good? He goes, no. So then he goes, what about, could you do something with your arms maybe? To Alex and I. He walks away, and I go, what are you going to do with your arms? And he goes, we laughed so hard that night that we were in tears. And I was so delirious, and that was it.
Awesome. All right, you guys, it is our time. Thank you so much for coming in and doing this panel.
Thank you, everyone.
Please make sure to stop by her table and visit her and chat with her and buy some autographs and take some pictures. We appreciate your time, and we will see you out there.
Thank you.
Yeah.